good at that. Hello there. Welcome to a vehicle all of us have been waiting years to see, and it's finally arrived. This is the all-new Mark V Toyota Supra BMW. Oh, scratch that last part. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. This is the new Supra. We've waded through concepts and ideas and drawings and renderings and all kinds of other noise and news and all that stuff, but this is it. This is it. I'm finally in it. It's finally here. Now, I've actually driven one of these before, but I didn't drive it on the street. Toyota was kind enough to invite me to a track session of the new Supra a few months back. I didn't cut that video together because I knew I was getting the car to start 2020, and so I wanted to kind of mash those videos together. So right now what I'm going to do is cut to my footage from my track drive, and it'll be interesting to see how my thoughts of the car at the track match up to my thoughts of after spending a week with the car. So let's go to that now. All right, let's get some thoughts together on the Supra. I've done a few sessions in it so far, and it's pretty good. It's really good. The steering is nicely tuned. The engine note is entertaining and inspiring. The brakes feel great. The suspension, you can feel it, the rear end wanting to bounce around a bit over the sketchy sections of Streets of Willow, because the back half of this is pretty bouncy. But otherwise the car is sorted. The traction control system is excellent. It doesn't sap too much of the fun. And in sport mode, I can, I leave the gearbox alone and I let it do its own thing, and it upshifts where I want it to. It's downshifting into corners. The whole package is just really well sorted to making you feel comfortable out here. I don't know how well you'll hear me when we're out there. I'm gonna voice over a bunch of this, but we'll give it a shot and I'll try to talk through this. A lap of Streets of Willow, or a few laps in the 2020 Toyota GR Supra. Gazoo! Here we go. Choose all the track. Breaking into this turn on a slight right can be a little odd at times. That's a slightly later apex. There's traction control keeping me in line. There's an off-camber left that's kind of fun, because as you come uphill, sometimes the rear end will step out a little bit. Very controllable. And then this section is just kind of a mess at streets. You just kind of work your way through it. You can feel the car bouncing around, but otherwise feels nice and composed. And then you come back into the bowl section. Little dab of the brakes as we enter. Just kind of touch the apex, but use all the camber. Come all the way out to the edge and stomp on it. This is the scary part. A very fast little section. Dab of the brakes here. Enter the next section. Bigger push of the brakes. Left. And then a fast right, left, right. So we come into the main section, get us back onto the straight, the front straight. And then we're away. you go. That was a couple laps of Streets of Willow in the new Supra. We're gonna have a road test of this car coming later in the year, so stay tuned for that. But for now, our first taste of the car is in a pretty great environment. And welcome back. That was what the car was like on the racetrack. Sitting here, I barely remember what I said, so it'll be interesting to see what happens when I edit this. But we are on the road, we're on the streets of Irvine, California, in a lovely red Supra. Now, let's get to the meat and potatoes of what this car is. Yes, under the skin, this is very much a BMW Z4. Inside, it feels very much like a BMW. All of the controls are BMW-esque, the screens, the menus, all of that stuff is BMW. The seat feels like a BMW seat. It is a good seat, it is comfortable, it's really nicely bolstered, and I fit in here at 6'3", 215. However, it is a little bit cramped. This is not a very big car. It has the same wheelbase as a GT86, I believe, with shorter overhang. So this is not a big car at all. I do fit. This visibility off to the sides is a bit tough. The rear 3/4 over my right shoulder is tough. Forward visibility is fine. It's almost Camaro-like in here, if you know my thoughts on the Camaro. But back to, I was saying the meat and potatoes, which is a dumb way to say engine and transmission. Under the hood, again, because it's BMW, inline 6-cylinder engine. It's got a turbo and it makes 335 horsepower, and it sends that power out to the rear wheels via a very good 8-speed automatic gearbox. Now, they list 335 horsepower. This feels like a lot more than 335 horsepower. And I think Car and Driver put one of these on the dyno, and it was making, their claim would be, Toyota's claim would be 335 at the crank. And I think Car and Driver got, 10 more horsepower at the wheels than that figure, something along those lines. So they're sandbag on this thing. And it makes sense because the buff books are also testing 0 to 60 numbers on this and getting it, high 3s, which is really quick. That's a fun number. And I believe them, especially, this is in normal right now, normal and manual. I'm gonna put it into sport, and the exhaust is going to get louder, and I'm going to hammer it. That bing was a very BMW-esque tone, letting me know that I am exceeding the speed limit. Fuck off, BMW. Let's talk about the styling for a minute. This thing has some good angles. It also has some bad angles. The head-on look of the nose is a bit tough. The direct on of the rear is a bit tough. This thing starts to shine when you look at it in profile or in 3/4 views. I like the rear 3/4. There's just a lot of action going on in terms of the styling. I wish the vents were open and usable. It's just all fake vents everywhere you look, and that's kind of a bummer. Like, let's open those up, let's make those real. Especially the one on the door, because that kind of looks tacked on. If it was open and usable, I think it would look better, and if it blended into the door a little bit more nicely, I'd like that. I do love the ducktail rear spoiler. I like the bulbous fenders. I like all of that stuff. I like the daytime running light treatment. All of that works well. On the inside, it's kind of boring BMW where it's functionally good, if that makes sense. Now, this is a 3.0 Premium. There are 3 trims. There's a 3.0, 3.0 Premium, and then a Launch Edition, but there's only 1,500 of those Launch Edition cars. So the 3.0 Premium is kind of the one that I think most people will buy. You get a bigger screen, you get wireless Apple CarPlay, you get all that good stuff. Powertrain-wise, dynamically, it's all the same. So speaking of that gearbox again, I'm in 6 right now. Now down to 4th. It goes well. It's nice. In sport, you get lots of noise from that exhaust when you let off the throttle. It's almost annoying to a point, which is weird because I love it in the Jag SVR F-Type, though that's V8 noise, which is different than inline 6 turbo noise, so it's going to be better. It's fun, it is entertaining, and then at some point you just hit the button, you're like, all right, I've had enough, I need a break. The suspension is a bit stiff, but you can adjust that. There's individual settings for the sport driving mode, so you can fine-tune it a bit to make it more comfortable so that you can get the noise, but maybe relax the damping on the suspension or the steering stiffness and all that good stuff. Now, when you do dive into this and push it hard, you'll note what I noted on the racetrack. And I am finding that, yes, it's still very much noticeably a short wheelbase car. Obviously, it's not bouncing around as much because I'm not caning it as hard as I was at Streets of Willow. But on a canyon road, it feels composed, it feels tight, but at the same time, you are very aware that you are in a compact machine. The steering feel is good though. I do like that. The brakes are confidence inspiring. All of it adds up to an entertaining driving experience. Now, I do feel like the Supra is getting hit a bit harder than it needs to be. Other journalists are like, oh, you got the Supra this week, prepare for disappointment. I'm not getting that. I'm not disappointed by this car. Yes, I know the areas where others are let down. And I will say this as well. I'm probably easier on cars than most people. Some people are like, oh, the door doesn't click hard enough, or I can overlook some things to the detriment sometimes to my reviewing ability. However, I will say I would never spend my own money on one of these, but if someone was like, I want to buy the new Supra, I'd be like, cool, man, go have fun, spend the money the way you want to spend it. I'd spend my money in other places. Especially, this one as tested is $56,000. It makes good noise. It's entertaining to look at. I love that the Supra is back, especially as the Gazoo Racing. This is the first GR branded vehicle for the States. So that's kind of exciting too. Toyota is really putting their money where their mouth is in terms of making vehicles much more entertaining. I mean, hell, there is the RAV4 plug-in hybrid with 302 horsepower now, and that is the second quickest Toyota vehicle you can buy in terms of off-the-line speed. It's faster than the GT86. I mean, everything is, but so we go Supra and then plug-in RAV4 hybrid. That's kind of amazing. Now, there was some recent news with Toyota bringing out a car for Japan only called the GR Yaris. That's the one I'm far more interested in, and that's the one we're never gonna see over here, and that is a damn shame. I feel like they would sell 10 GR Yari for every one Supra they sold. But, we're not talking about that car, we're talking about this car. It's exciting to have the Supra back. It's a polarizing, stylish sports car with engaging driving dynamics. Do I wish they offered a manual version? Sure, and there's a rumor that one of those is coming. Do I wish it had more than 335 horsepower? I don't know, because I feel like it does have more than 335 horsepower. So we're okay there. Below $60,000 for this feels right for the price. The only problem is that the C8 Corvette's gonna come out, people go, oh wait, mid-engined near supercar for the same price? Or a little bit more, maybe $10,000 more, when you equip it the way you want it, maybe $15,000 more. People who've been waiting for this are going to be excited and they're going to grab onto it. And people who are kind of on the fence that is going to be like a 50-50 split. But as it sits now, it's entertaining. It's definitely entertaining. I definitely like driving it. Like I said, I wouldn't buy one, but if you wanted to buy one, I'd go ahead, get yourself one, enjoy yourself. Good thing about short wheelbase, easy turning radial. Oh yeah, it does it real easily. Okie doke. Oh, who's ready for shenanigans? Let's see what we can do in terms of a fucking beefy Borrego stando. Third gear. Hey, this thing's good at that. It just held it in second gear too. I wonder if that was like a launch control mode. It doesn't sound like appreciative testimony. I know when I drove it on the racetrack, I really, really enjoyed it. And I know, reflecting, that other journalists are giving this thing a really hard time. I don't think it deserves as hard of a review as some other folks are giving it. Does it deserve some of the complaints and comments about it? Yes. All of them? Probably not. I hope that's picking up on the audio. Let's see, like, get a quieter bit of pavement. It's literally like spitting fuel onto the cats. And it's pop, 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 pop. It's constant. It's fun. It is fun. It is fun.